Yeah. In yesterday class, we discussed about dimension and the dimension properties. So, do you have any doubts to now?
No,
Okay. So, how to create attribute relationships, how to translate your uh, column names, okay? How to translate your column names into any other language, okay? And how to browse the dimension data. So these are all we have discussed, okay? And how to create a relationship between the attributes of the dimension, okay? Now let me go for, so these are all the dimensions we have added up to now. Now let me go for explain about, let me go and create a fact table. So a cube means at least one dimension, at least one fact, and a relationship should exist between them. No. Now let me go and create a cube. Okay, cube means for let me go and create a fact table. So there is no direct folder to create a fact table or a measure. Okay, we will call it as fact table also as a measure also. No, as a measure also. So there is no direct folder is not provided. We have to create under the cubes folder only. Now let me go and create a new cube. Okay. So the measure or a fact table is a part of a cube. Okay. Now how to create a cube is, now everything is wizard as I told. Everything is through wizard only. Now go to next. Now do you want to create a cube using the existing tables, or do you want to create a cube from scratch? Okay, from scratch. Okay, now either you can select the first option or the second option, but always better to go for create a cube from the scratch. Okay, and after explaining this option, I will come back and explain this first option. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to create a cube from the starting. Okay, and now generate tables in the data source. This is, you can say, adventure works, enterprise edition and standard edition, so which will generate the tables in the existing data source. Okay, now I don't want to do that, I just want to create an empty cube. Okay, let me go for create an empty cube. Go to next. And what is the database for your cube? So the database for your cube is the tables present in the adventure works DSV. No, tables present in the data source. So that is the data source for my cube. Go to next. And now what is the cube name you want to give? Let me go for use some cube name as ADV sales. Okay. ADV sales analysis. Okay. I'm giving some adventure works. Okay. Adventure works sales analysis cube. Whatever name you want, you can go and give it. Okay. That's it. Let me click on finish. Now you can see that it has created empty cube for us. Created an empty cube for us. Okay. Okay. Now you can see this is a, there is one more dimension section here and one more measure section here. Okay. So this is called measures is called as fact table and this is called dimensions. Okay. Now there is nothing present inside the cube. It is a just simply a empty cube. Okay. Now we have to go and add first the dimensions. Okay, dimensions for your cube, and let us see. So once you right click on it and select add cube dimension. Okay, now you can see the list of dimensions what we have created are shown here. Okay, now let us say that if we have 10 dimensions created, we can select, but for my cube, for this cube I require only 2 dimensions. Okay, then you can select the required dimensions you need to create. Okay, now you can see in your cube I have one cube dimension here. Okay, so the dimensions which we are creating under this folder are called as database dimensions. They are called as database dimensions, and the dimensions which we are calling inside the cube are called as cube dimensions. Okay, so we can create not only one cube, we can create multiple cubes. Okay, and I can reuse the dimensions whatever we have created in multiple cubes. Okay, let me show you. Now let me go for and create another cube. Let me go and create a cube. Okay, now let me make it as cube 2. Just use an example, cube 2. Okay, finish. Now you can see that I can here again in the cube to add cube dimension. Now you can see I can reuse the dimensions present under this folder. Now you can see, let me go for and create it. Now you can see, so these are all called as the dimensions what we have created under the dimensions folder as called as database dimensions, which are available for multiple cubes. And the dimensions which we are used under this cube, or your dimensions which we are used under this cube are called under this cube as called as cube dimensions. Okay. So this is one of the interview questions. So they might ask what is a database dimension and what is a cube dimension. Okay. So the dimensions which are present, which we have created under this dimensions folder are called as at solution level are called as database dimensions, and dimensions which we are calling inside the cube are called as cube dimensions. Okay. Now let me add some more dimensions to explain. We have added dim product. So let me add new dimension. So I'm creating a dimension here. So use an existing table, and let me go and select our dimension table. Let me select the dim product subcategory. Okay, next. And do you want to add any related table? So let me add the dim product category, or if you don't want, you can go and remove that. Let me add product category key and subcategory name. Go to next. And we have dim product subcategory. Let me finish. Okay, now you can see that dim product subcategory is added. Now if you want to call this dimension the cube level, you can go on add cube dimension dim product subcategory, click on like this. Okay, now let me add one more dimension, dim customer. Let me go for next. Okay, so let me go for his first name, last name, middle name, birth date. Okay, gender. So let me go for his full name. Okay, if you want, let me go for next and finish. So I've added multiple dimensions, okay, and to the cube and can go and add those dimensions, okay. Whatever the dimensions, if I want to add, I can go and add. Let me go for dim custom. Okay, so this is how I can add a cube. I can add multiple dimensions to the cube. I can add multiple dimensions to the cube, and this is the data source view section. Okay, this is the data source view section. Now let me go and add a measure. Okay, now under this measures is called as fact tables. Okay, let me go and add a fact table. Okay, now let me go and right click. Now you can see here we have two options. One is measure and the measure group. Okay, one is measure and the measure groups. So if you want to add a single measure, okay, if you want to add a only sales amount from your sales table, then you can go and click on new measure. And now you can see that by default it is showing the aggregated function. By default it is showing the sum. Okay, and source table is, now let me select our fact table, that is sales. Now under this sales table, so it will show the list of integer field columns. Okay, it is show the list of float or integer field columns. Or okay, now you can see under this I can select okay sales amount. So since I have selected only measure, it will allow me to select only one column. Okay, now you can click on it. Now you can see a measure, a fact table is created called sales. Under this we have added only the sales amount measure. And by default, is it aggregated value, aggregated sum it is showing or not? Yes, it is showing the aggregated value. That is, when you are creating a measure, now let me remove this. So it is not showing the detail level data. We are not showing the detail level data. We are showing the aggregated data. We are showing the aggregated data to the customer. Okay, means he wants month-wise sales or he wants city-wise sales, okay, year-wise sales. So he wants the year-wise sales means he wants to group the data by year. Okay, we are showing to the customer not the detailed data, we are showing the grouped data. So let us say that category-wise sales means he wants to group the category data. He wants to group the sum of sales amount. He wants to group the sales amount, that is by he wants to show the sum of sales amount by category wise, like that. No? So always we will show in SSAS, always we will show the aggregated data only, not the detail level data. If he wants to analyze the detail level data, he can go to the SQL database itself. No, and here from SSAS, if you still wants to see the detail level data in any case, then we can go and select no aggregations also. We can go and select no aggregations also. But 99%, 99.99%, we will go for aggregated data. Okay. Now you can see sum of, and you have to select your fact table, and you have selected a single measure now, then which measure you want to analyze. Now I want to analyze the sales amount. Okay, click on it. Suppose if I select measure group, then you can see here all the list of tables are shown here. Now since the sales is already used, it is not showing here. Okay, the following tables are already used by other measure groups. Okay, now let me click on cancel. And if you want to add entire measure group, let me delete. If you want to add new measure group, now I am going for measure group. Let us see what it is. Now I can go for sales and I can click on OK. Now you can see all the integer columns, all the amount columns or cost columns or float columns or decimal columns. All the columns are shown here. Okay. So under this fact table, now all the columns are present. So whichever columns you want to analyze, you can go on analyze. Okay. Now 90% cases, what we will do is, let me delete this. Now let me go for single measure. Now sum, and we have to select the fact table here. Let me go for sales amount. Now under this measure, okay, under this fact table, so let me go and add one more measure. Okay, new measure, and you can select if you want to analyze sales amount and tax amount, I can add it. Okay, so first of all we'll select one measure. Instead of selecting all the measure group, instead of selecting all the integer columns, what we will do is we will add a single measure first, like sales amount. And as per the customer request, if he wants to analyze the something, let us say if he wants to analyze the ordered quantity, okay, or unit price of, if he wants to analyze the unit price or city wise unit price, like that, okay, then you can go and add the extra measures. Okay, if he wants to analyze the freight amount also, then we can go and add it here, like this. Okay, so we have added a dimension table, and we have added a fact table. Okay, now we have, so while in the formation of cube, okay, what is a cube is called as at least one fact table should be there. Okay, at least one dimension should be there. Okay, at least one dimension should be there. And now we have created fact and dimension. Now next thing is we have to create a relation. We have to create a relation to make it as a perfect cube. Okay, now let me see how where we can create the relationship. Now let me see where we can create the relationship is. Now you can see we have one section called dimension usage is there. So in which we can go on create a relationship. Now you can see, let me go on create a dimension usage. Now you can see here, this is the list of dimensions I have created. So we have created dim product, product subcategory, and dim customer. And this is my measure group table sales. And here you can see that my dim product table dimension and the sales table are already related by product key. Are already related by product key. Okay, so how it has, how the relation is defined here is, no. So if I go to this data source view, now you can see that in the data source view, your dim product table and the sales table are already related. The relation is already present in the data source view. So if I go and see the data source view, now you can see the sales table, okay, the sales table and the dim product table, okay, are already related. So that's why it is taking the help of that existing relationship. So that's why I told you that in the starting classes that if you design the data source view perfectly, half of the work will get reduced in the future sections. So since the relation is already there, so it is making use of this relationship in the while creating the cube also. You don't need to go and create the relationship again there. Okay. So now you can see we have reduced the work. So since the relationship is already defined in the data source view level, it is making use of that relationship. This my fact table and the dim product table are related through product. Suppose if the relationship is not there, let me go and remove this relationship. Delete. Okay, I'm removing the relationship here. Okay, now let me go on cube structure. Okay, let me go on. Now you can see that the relationship is not there. Now let me remove this dim product. Delete. Okay, now let me re-add this. Add cube dimension. Let me re-add the dim product. Now you can see the relationship is not there, and if I go for dimension usage, now you can see I have added a dim product, but there is no relationship between my measure group and the dim product. Okay, now you can see that now we have to build a relationship here. Now we have to create a relationship here. Now I will come back again about this. Now let us see how we can build a relationship at least for dim product. Now click on this. So we have different types of relationships. So if there is a direct relationship present between the dimension table and my fact table, okay, let me have to check whether any direct relationship is there. So how we can check is, so in the sales table I have one product key, and the dim product table I have one product key. So these two tables are coming from the data source, you know. So in the sales table, I have product key, and the product table also I have the product key. So using this column, using this mapping column, I can create a relationship. I can create a join between my sales table and the product table. No, so I have to go to the dimension usage. Right now there is no relationship present. Now let me go for and create a a regular relationship, direct relationship. Okay. Now under this product key, so this is the granularity attribute. That is, by using product key, I want to join my dimension table, that is in product, and measure group table, that is fact internet sales. And from the dimension table, the key column is already present, and in the fact table, I have to select the product key to create a relationship. Okay. Now you can see that these two got related. Okay. So we have created a relationship, the cube level. Okay. If the relationship is not present in the data source view level, we have created a relationship at the cube level. Okay. Now we have created a cube. Okay. Now you can see we have created a fact table and a dimension table. Okay. And we have related each other by taking the help of some mapping formula by using the primary key and foreign key relationship. So this is called as a cube. That's it. This is called as a simple cube. Okay. Now let me go on see the data. So let me go and see the data of this cube. Okay. Now browser. Now if we want to see the data at the cube also. So we have created a simple cube. Now let me see how it is benefiting the customers. Okay. Now we have created a dimensions fact and we have related. I want to browse the data of the cube. We have the browser at cube level also. Let me go. So in order to browse the data, we have to refresh or process our cube. Let me go on process my cube. Means processing means we are fetching the data from your SQL database. Okay. Now you can see that some deployment errors. Let me see what is that. So the cube 2 what we have created. So it is telling that we have created one more cube 2, no? So it has no measure group, no? So cube means at least one dimension, one fact should be there, no? So there is no fact table. So that's why it is showing me the error. Now let me remove this cube. Let me delete this cube. Yes, why? Because the relation is we have created at the cube level, but not at the dimension level, no? But not at the data source view, no? So in the existing data source view, there is no relation, but we have created the relation at the cube level. So that relationship will be present only at the cube, but not at the data source view. It won't reflect into the underlying data source. Okay, so the relationship will be the scope of the relationship is up to the cube only. Okay, it won't go and create a relationship in the existing data source view. If the relation is present in the data source, that is the database, that relation will reflect in every child. Okay, like the child cube. Now let me reprocess this cube again. Now it is processing. Now let me go and see. So it is processing. Let me go and see. Let me run it. Okay, so some errors it is getting, that is then customer table birth date. Okay, so there is problem with let us say processing dimension in category. You can see the error messages like that. So it is telling that the current operation was cancelled because another operation, the transaction failed. Another card which is while the day particular attribute of the DIM customer dimension from the SSAS database was being processed. So it is telling that some issue with the birth date. Okay. So now let me go for so let me go to this DIM category, DIM customer. So something issue with the birth date format. Let me delete this. Okay. And the DIM product subcategory. Let me see that. So let me go on. First of all, let me process the DIM customer dimension alone. Okay. So let us see whether this dimension is processing the is able to process or not. I'm processing only the dimension now. Okay. Let me click on run. So it is still saying that so I have cleared the existing data. Let me get only process the data. So I'm not able to process the data also. Some issue with the first name operation. Maybe some extra spaces or something else is present in this dim customer. Now let me remove this dim customer. I will see what is there separately. So let me remove this dimension. Okay. So in the cube also, I have added subcategory and product. Okay, I have added only the subcategory and product level. I will see what is the issue with the dim customer separately. And tomorrow class I will add it without errors. Okay. Now let me go and process this. Now let me go for process your DB, process your entire queue. Now you can see I was able to process. So some issues with the dim customer data. So let me correct the data first. Okay, some null values or empty spaces or I was maybe in the full name or first name. Some after the name, some spaces are there. Maybe it is not getting that. So I will see what is the data. Okay, and I will re-add it in the tomorrow class, the customer table. Okay. Now the process is succeeded, means we are able to fetch the data from the SQL database to the my SSAS tables. Okay. Now if I go and browse the data, okay, let me go to the browser and we have to reconnect or refresh. Refresh. Now you can see that we are able to see the cube data. Okay, so how many measures we have created, so that many measures or facts will be present under this measure section. Now we have created one fact table called sales. Under this fact table I have three measures. Okay, one is sales amount, tax amount and freight amount. So when I drag and drop the sales amount, it will show me the sum of sales happen, sum of sales present in the fact table, present in the sales table. Okay, sum of sales present in the sales table. So in the cube structure, so we have one sales table. No? That table only we have added. No? What is my sales table? If you go and check in the data source view, your sales table is, if I go and check in the properties of this sales table, my actual database table name is fact internet sales. Okay, from this fact internet sales, it is showing the when I am doing the drag and drop. When I am doing the from the fact internet sales, okay, I'm going to the cube again and I go to the browser section. Okay, now you can see under this fact internet sales table, when I drag and drop it, and the measure we have selected is sum, no. So while creating this measure, what is the aggregate we have selected? Sum, no. So this is the aggregated we have selected, no. So it is showing when I browse the data, it is showing the sum of sales amount present in the fact internet sales table. And if you want to go on cross check, you can go on cross check here. Now let me connect. Okay. Now let me go to the adventure works and new query. So the amount it is getting displayed is nothing but select star from fact internet sales. Okay, from this table it is showing me the sum of sales. Okay, sum of sales. Now you can see how is the value it is displaying here 29358677. So the same value it is getting displayed here 29358677. Okay. Now we have created the aggregated function called sum of sales amount each way. Now if you want to analyze, let us say product wise sales or color wise sales, okay, you can go and analyze it by color wise sales. Now you can see you are not writing any query here, you are just dragging and dropping the color column. Now what it has done, the SSAS solution, instead of you writing the query, it has generated a MDX query in the backend, okay, and it is giving you the color wise sales. Now you can see my total sales amount is split into color wise sales amount. And if you don't want to analyze by product wise sales, product name wise sales, you can just drag and drop it. Now you can see the customers can feel the luxury, so they need to just drag and drop it, they are getting the output. So if your customer wants to analyze the year wise sales, so just drag and drop the year column. Month wise sales, just drag and drop the month wise column, that's it. You can just drag and drop it, you don't need to come and ask you generate a query and prepare the output and give it to you. He can on its own, you can just drag it how he wants to. Okay. Now you can see that. So if you wants to see the uh, product wise, color wise sales, I can drag and drop the color column also. See the blue color. So we have three different products, and this is the blue color wise sales. Okay, like if you wants to analyze the model wise sales, you can go and analyze that. Yes, Kaushik. Okay, I'm not able to hear you. I'm not able to hear you.
Is it possible to mask this column names? In our database, we have product the dimension. Now, coming to here, I also have the same name, but I
Hello,
want to
hello. Can you, uh, Kaushik, can you speak in the speaker space? Hello, your voice is not audible, Kaushik. Hello, Kaushik. Is it possible to mask the column names if you want to give the new column names? No? Yes, you can give it. Okay, if means masking means you want to hide the column names or do you want to give the new column names? If you want to give the new column names at the dimension usage, okay, if you go to the cube structure And if you go and see the list of attributes, this is the attributes present under this dimension. And if you want to rename it, okay, so go to the properties. So now let us say that attribute is age, and attribute ID color. So if you want to go for, so I can give the renaming to the dimension. Okay, I can go and give the renaming to the dimension. It is like dim product to product. So let me go and see edit dimension. Let me go to the dimension again, dim product. Okay, now let me see whether I was able to rename it. Now you can see if I go to the dimension, I can go and give a new name to my column names. Okay, at the dimension level we have to do it. Okay, and after renaming it, now you can see that yes, you can give the new column names. Let us see that. So the dim product, I'm giving some renaming. Let us say that instead of English product name, I'm just giving the product name. Okay, I'm just giving the product name here, and I can go to this. So we have applied some change to the product name. Let me go to the cube. Now let me delete this cube, delete this dimension, and re-add it in the cube level. Add the dim product table, okay, and go to the dimension usage. Let me create a one more time the relationship regular. Now product key, and you can see that I'm creating a relationship between my fact table and the dimension table, and the relationship is created. And if I go to the browser and reprocess it, so if you do some small change, we have to reprocess it. So I was allowed to do the column name change. We can give a new column name, okay, alias name to the existing column name at the dimension table level, okay, at the database dimension level, but not at the cube dimension level. Okay, first the parent should be in the parent database dimension. We have to change, which will get reflected in the cube dimensions. Okay, now I was able to process it. Okay, now let me go and reconnect, and now you can see that now you can see my column name is changed from English product name to product name. Okay, now let me go for now sales amount. Now I will explain something. Okay, let us see the importance of relationship. So we have created one relationship now. So we have created one relationship now. Let us see the importance of creating the relationship. Now if you see the dim product and the sales, okay, and you can see the dim product subcategory, and the dim product and sales are related to each other, okay, and my subcategory and my fact table, that is sales table, are not related to each other. Okay, let us see the difference between these two, having a relationship, having no relationship. Let us see the difference. So let me drag and drop the sales amount, and if I want to analyze by color by sales, now you can see I was able to analyze the, now the sum of sale amount is splitted, is grouped by color wise. Okay, now I am showing the color wise total sale amount. Okay, now let me drag and drop back to this. Now let me go for dim product subcategory. Okay, now there is no relationship between the dim product subcategory and the sales table. Now you can see when I drag and drop the subcategory name, now you can see, is there any splitting is happening now? Is there any splitting is happening now? Is my sales amount is getting splitted based upon the subcategory? Is it grouping the data by subcategory? No. So without relationship, there is nothing. Okay, there is no use of this now. If I show the data, the customer won't accept. So without splitting the data, so without relationship, my cube is a waste piece. Okay. So if you want to analyze the subcategory by sales, then I have to compulsory create a relationship between these two. Then without the relationship, the data will look like this. Okay. Now you can see I cannot analyze the subcategory by sales. So since there is a relationship between the dim product and sales, I can, when I drag and drop the color, it is giving the split of color by sales. Okay, but since there is no relationship between my subcategory and the sales table, when I drag and drop the subcategory name, the splitting is not happening because no relationship. Okay, now let me go and create a relationship between these two. Now let me go and create a relationship between these two. I will come back again to these types of relationships. Okay, now let me create a relationship. Don't worry what type. Now I'm creating a reference relationship, that is indirect relationship. Okay. Reference, somehow I'm creating some relationship. I will explain how I'm creating. Okay. Now you can see that my dim product subcategory and sales table are has having a reference relationship, means I don't have the, now you can see this is my dim product subcategory. So in this table I have subcategory key, but in my sales table I don't have the subcategory key. I don't have the subcategory. So that's why I cannot create a direct relationship between these two. Okay, but my product table has subcategory. So what I have done is I have created a relationship between these two first, and by using the subcategory key and subcategory key, I have created a relationship, and from this table I will take the product key and I can create a relationship between this product key and product key. That is called indirect relationship. Okay. Now you can see that. So now you can see that this is your fact table. Okay. This is my dim product table. I have the product key here. Okay, this is my product table. I have the product key here. Okay, and in my fact table, that is sales table, I have the product key. Okay, using this column, okay, I have a direct, I can create a direct relationship between these two. But I have one more table called subcategory key. Okay, I have one more table called subcategory key. Okay, in here it will have subcategory key column. Subcategory key column, but there is no subcategory key present in my fact table. So I cannot create a direct relationship. But in my product table, I have a subcategory key. Okay. Then using this column, I can create a relationship between these two. And from this table, so I can, using this column, I can create a relationship. From this table, I can take the product key and again I can join these two. This is called an indirect relationship. This is not a direct relationship. This is called as indirect relationship. Okay. So this type of relationships are called as a reference relationship. If there is any direct relationship is there, then it is a regular relation. And if any indirect relationship is there, that is called as a reference relationship. Okay. So that is what I am doing here in the dimension usage. When I am creating a relationship, I am selecting the reference. Now, so that subcategory table has a relationship with the product table, okay, with these two. Okay. So when I want to get the product subcategory by sales, what it will do is, first of all, it will join these two tables. So it will go to this, okay, it will go to this. So it is going for dim product, and from the dim product table, it will take the product key, okay, and I can come back to the sales. It is not a direct relationship. So it is showing here, go to the dim product. Now you can see it is referring to the dim product dimension. So it will go to this dim product and from this dim product it can take the product key and it can relate to the sales table. That is called reference relationship. Now whether it is regular or reference, I have created some relationship between my sales table and the subcategory. Now let me browse it. So let me process it. So we have to, even though if you do the single change, we have to process every time. It is only drawback in the SSAS. Now I have created a new relationship. Now I am processing it. Now the process is succeeded. Now let me close it. Now you can see if you go to the browser and you can see that. Let me reconnect, refresh. Okay. Now let me see sales amount. Okay, it is showing the sum of sales amount. Now let me see whether the category name, when I drag and drop the subcategory name, now you can see, is it splitting happening or not? Yes. Now it is showing you the subcategory wise sale amount. So for these gloves, helmets, this much is the sales. For mountain bikes or road bikes, okay, this is the sales. For mountain bikes, this is the sales. For caps, this is the same. So without having a relationship, we are not able to split the data. Once you have the relationship, then it is called as a cube database. Without relationship, that is a waste piece. Okay, so that's why a cube is called as at least one fact table, one dimension table, and a relationship should exist. If I don't have the relationship, then it is a waste piece. No use of the cube. If you have a relationship, then only I can analyze. Okay, understood? Now let me show you one more important thing. Okay, now we have two dimensions, that is product and the product subcategory. Now my customer wants, so with these dimensions he can analyze color wise sales, model wise sales, product wise sales and subcategory wise sales. But he cannot analyze the year wise, calendar year wise, semester wise, quarter wise, month wise sales. No? So if he wants to analyze like this, so what is the dimensions I have to add here under the cube? I have to add my, to this cube I want to add my date dimension. So in the date dimension only we have the year, semester and quarter names. No, then I have to into this cube I need to go and add the, I need to call the dim date dimension. Now let me click on add it. Now we can see that there is only one dimension in the database level called dim date. But when I am adding at the cube, the dimension is divided into three cube dimensions. One database dimension has become a three dimensions. How come? How come means now you can see in the data source view. So this is the data source view. No? Now how many relationship present in the sales between the sales table and the dim date table. Now you can see how many relationship are there. Three relationship is there. So that's why three cube dimensions are created. So this is a like a base table, date dimension table. And in my sales table, I have, now you can see we have order date, due date and ship date. Shipment date, due date and order date. Okay. Now you can go to this data source view and you can see how many relations, how many arrows are present between my dim date table and the sales table is. Now if I go and click on the first relationship, now you can see there is one relationship for order date wise analysis. Okay. So I can analyze, so how much sales happen based upon the order date also. Okay, means how many today, how many products are getting ordered. Okay, so in this month, how many products are ordered? Actually, how many orders I received? Okay, so in this received orders, now you can see how many. we have one more relationship based upon the shipment date. So I can analyze, the customer can analyze how many were ordered and how many were actually shipped. Okay, how many were already delivered. Okay, and we can see that we can go and have one more relationship called due date, means how many are pending. So the customer can analyze like anyways, no, how many are ordered. So to get the order wise count, I have to join the relationship between the order date key and the date key. There is only one key column in the dim date dimension. Okay. If I want to analyze the how many orders are shipped, okay, how many products are shipped, then I have joined one more relationship, that is using the shipment date key and date key. And how many are pending. So I have created one more relationship based upon the due date key and the date. So since in the data source view in the existing database there are three relationships exist, for each relationship there is one cube dimension is created. So the customer can analyze now order wise sales, shipment wise sales and due date wise sales. Okay, understood? So these type of dimensions. So means which will have only one database dimension. Okay, at database level we have only one dimension. When it comes to the cube level, it is playing three roles. Okay, it has divided into three dimensions. So these type of dimensions are called as role playing dimensions. Okay, role playing dimensions. Now it is playing multiple roles here. Okay, so this is one of the interview question. What is a role playing dimensions? Okay, so the dimensions which is acting as a only one role in the database level, but it is acting multiple roles. It is playing multiple roles at the cube level. This type of dimensions are called as role-playing dimensions and also called as conformed dimensions. Okay, and also called as conformed dimensions. So they can ask you in any way, what is role-playing dimensions or conformed dimensions? So for both of it, same answer. So a dimension which is playing a single role at the database level. So at the database level, it is playing a single role, but at the cube level, it is playing the multiple roles. These type of dimensions are called as conformed dimensions or also called as role-playing dimensions. Now you can go and see that dimension usage. Now you can see how I can analyze order wise sales, ship date wise sales and due date wise sales, and already are related by using the date key from the sales table. Okay, now let me process it. Now I want to analyze the year wise sales. Let me process it one more time. Guys, give me 2 minutes. I can finish off this class in 2 minutes. Okay. Now let me process the queue. So some error again. The username or password is incorrect. So let me process it. I think the data source is not deleted. It's there. Okay, some password issue. So now you can see that when I go to the browser and when you click on reconnect, you can see that so date dimensions are also present here. So order wise sales and due date wise sales and shipment date wise sales. Now I can go and analyze. Let me drag and drop the sales amount. And if we want to see the order wise sales, okay, in each year how much orders and how much is the sales amount. Now you can see that calendar year if I drag and drop, so you can see the order wise sales. Okay, now so actually this many orders and this much amount I'm expecting, okay, by the ordering. Okay, and if you want to see the each semester wise or month wise in each year, you can see in each year month wise sales. So like that we can go and analyze it by based upon the due date and shipment date and whatever date you want. Okay, so now you can see that in the order date, let me go and drag the calendar year, and in this calendar year, how many, if you want to see each year wise color wise sales, then you can go and drag year wise color wise sales also. This will give me the year wise color wise sales. And if you want to drag product name also, so year wise color wise product wise sales getting inside. And if you want to include any subcategory name also, you can go and include the subcategory. Okay, so from these multiple dimensions you can drag and drop any field. The customer have that facility. Okay, so if you have the correct relationship defined, now you can see it is showing me the correct data. The splitting is happening based on. Okay, okay. Can I stop now? Yeah. Thank you, Abhi. Thank you, Kaushik. I will send this recording. Any doubts? Okay, so I will stop now. Okay, yeah, thank you. So we'll continue tomorrow. Okay. So Faraj, I will continue. I will just connect. I have to record this class. Okay, I'll just connect in 2 minutes.
Okay, okay.